Hello everyone, this is the problem description of the problem that I told you this Thursday. So sorry if the description wasn't clear for some of you in the class. So what we need to do is to design a quiz with 10 multiplication questions and see if users can correctly answer 8 or more. So for each question, we need to generate 2 random numbers and ask the user to enter the answer to their multiplication and check if the user's answer is correct. If the answer is correct, we increment the user's score by 1, otherwise we keep the score unchanged. At the end of the quiz, which means after those 10 questions, we display the user's total score and see if it is greater than or equal to 8 or not. So to implement this in Flowgorithm, we go to the Flowgorithm and so the thing that we understand from the description is that there are a set of actions that we need to do 10 times. So what are those actions is to define 2 random numbers, calculate their multiplication, ask the user about the answer, and compare the user's answer with the correct answer and see if we need to increment the score or not. So all of those actions need to be repeated 10 times. So for that, we are going to use a for loop. So I'm going to add a for loop between the main and the end, and then I'm going to double click on the for, and as we see here that we need a variable, start value, and end value. So here is the thing that we need to define a variable for the for loop, and this is the variable that shows the number of iterations that, for example, if we have right now we need 10 iterations, we are in which, for example, iteration. So I'm going to call this variable I, and the start value is going to be 1 and the end value is going to be 10 because I need 10 repetition or 10 iterations. So we are going to go from 1 to 10, so we are increasing, and the step is equal to 1 because we need all of those 10 numbers. And so you can see that I is from 1 to 10. But we remember either from the last semester or the if statement example, we need, whenever we use a variable, we need to declare it. So I'm going to declare the variable I here, and the variable name is going to be I, and the I's value is going to be from either 1, 2 till 10. So it's going to be an integer. And then in the loop, I need to do all of those actions. So we need to, first we need 2 variables, 2 random numbers. So for each of them, I need to declare a variable. I'm going to name the first one as number 1, and the number 1 is an integer. And then I'm going to assign the value to that variable. So the variable that I want to assign the value is number 1 that I just declared. And the expression is going to be random open close parentheses. I'm going to put it 10, and this is going to be +1. So the random function in Flowgorithm is going to generate random numbers from 0 until this number, which means 10 is excluded, which means the result of rand 10 is either 0 till 9. So if I want this one to be from 1 to 10, so I have to add 1 to this expression. So the actual result of the entire expression, this expression, is going to be 1, 2 till 10. Okay, and then here is the assignment for this variable. I need to do the same thing for the second random number. So I'm going to declare variable number 2, and again I'm going to assign the value to this variable. I'm going to call number 2 is equal to random 10 plus 1. Okay, so we have these two random numbers. The next step is to calculate their multiplication. So again, I need a variable. So I'm going to declare the variable answer, which stores the result of their multiplication. So if I want to do the assignment, answer equals to number 1 multiplied by number 2. So this is the value of the answer. Now I need the user's input. So for this, I need an output to show the user what I'm expecting from him or from the user. So I'm going to have this expression here. So here's the expression, the first part, which is a string. I put it in double quotations. Then I have this AND to add these different parts. So when we have first we have the string, then we have this AND, then we have number 1, which is a variable, so I don't need the quotation marks. And I need another AND to add this expression, to concatenate this expression, which is a multiplication sign here. Again, because this is a string, I have to put it in quotation, double quotations. And finally, we have number 2. Okay, so this is our output or our display for the user. Now that we have this one, I have to declare another variable to store user's answer. So I'm going to declare another variable and call it user answer. And we are declaring this one, and then I need to assign, so I need to store the user's input into that variable. So I use the input, and the variable is going to be the user answer. So at this point, I have two random numbers. I have their multiplication, and now I have the user's answer. So I need to do the comparison, see if the user's answer is correct or not. So I'm going to have the if. I'm going to add the if statement. And for the if statement, we need to compare the user's answer and the correct answer. So this is the correct answer, and this is the user answer. So if this is true, which means the user correctly answer the multiplication, then I need to do an assignment. So what I actually need to do is to increment the score by 1. So I'm going to have a variable score, and what I'm going to do is to add score by 1. So what does it mean? It means that whatever the value of the score is, I'm going to add 1 to that value and keep it and store it or assign it or put it to the variable score again. So here is the meaning of this assignment. But if you realize we don't have this variable score here. I mean, I never declared a variable that named a score. So I need to define this variable. But this variable is going to be out of this loop. So this variable, the score, initial value is 0. Okay, every time we are going to add something to the 0. So we don't, but the point is that like this random number, that every time we don't care about the previous value of the number 1. we again generate a new random number. But for the score, this is not the case. Whatever the score of the user here at this point, we need to keep it and add to the one. So the score is going to be defined out of this loop, okay? And so we are going to declare this the variable score, and I'm going to call it score. And I'm going to add the initial value to the score. So I'm going to use the assignment, and the initial value of the score is going to be 0. If I put these two blocks in the loop, every time I reach here, it's going to make the score 0 again. And if the answer is correct, so the score here is going to be 1. But whenever we reach to the beginning of the loop, a score is going to be 0 again. So that's why I put this part out of the loop. So we have the declaration and the initial value, we put it out of the loop. So now we have everything for those 10 questions. So we are going to repeat this loop 10 times from 1 to 10. And by the end of this loop, when we are out of this loop here, we need to see if the user's score is greater than or equal to 8. So we need another if statement. So in the if, we are going to check the score. If the score is greater than or equal to 8, so we can tell the user that he or she did a great job. So we need an output here. So we have this string, and then we are also going to display the final score, the total score. And if the output, if the user's performance wasn't satisfactory, so we are going to have another message for the user. And here is the output. So now that we are done, so we can run this one. And okay, I have a typo here. So this is the score, this is the score. Yeah. Integer score, score. What is the problem? Oh, this is the typo that I should. Oh, here is the one. So if we go here, this is not score. Okay. And if we run it, yeah, we are good. So here it's going to ask the questions, and we are going to answer them to see if we can have some of them wrong. So this is going, let's say it's 90 and it's 80, and we wanted to have this one as 40. Okay, 6 and 36, 45 and 60, 63, and your score is 6. So we have 4 wrong. So this is the message for that. So the next step is that we can have the Python version of this program, and here is the Python. So we can copy this one and paste it in our Colab. Here we have Control V, and here is our Python version. So we import this the random, because we generate random numbers, and so we need to import the random. And here is the random seed. The only thing that we need, if you fix the seed here to any number, it's going to fix the sequence of generated random numbers. So this is important when you want to keep that random numbers effect out of your experiments. When you have an optimization model or when you have a problem and you want it to have to work with fixed sequence or fixed random numbers, you have to make sure that this seed is fixed and is equal for each of your experiments. So this is the thing. And so we can see here the score is initial value is 0, and then we have the for loop here. So it's from 1 to 10 plus 1, 11, because we see in the algorithm it was from 1 to 10 included, which means the value of I here was from 1, 2, 3, and 10 are going to be the values of the I. But in Python, because the indexing starts from 0, so we have to add 10 plus 1 to make sure that 10 is included. If you have 4 from I to, let's say, 10, if you have something like this range from 1 to 10, 10 is excluded. It's going to be 1, 2, 3 till 9 without 10. So if you want to have 10 in your loop, which means you need 10 iterations, you have to add 1 to 10, and the increment default is 1, so but here we also have the increment as equal to 1. So you see those two numbers, these are random numbers. We have their multiplication, then we are going to ask the user to have their input, we are going to save it and the user answer, and then here is the if function that we are comparing the user answer and the answer, and this is the equal sign to check if these are equal or not. So double equal is actually means if they are equal to each other. And so we are going to add a score and increment the score by 1 if the answer is correct, and otherwise we don't do anything. And finally, out of this 4, when the 4 is done, we are checking we check if the score is more than 8 or not. So if I run this one, it's going to ask us 10 questions. So if we answer them, and you see the numbers are different. From what we had in the Flowgorithm. Let me do this to show you something. And this is our score. So let me show you something. If I copy and paste this one, or yeah, I wanted to copy paste and put it in another cell and run it again. So see here, what is the answer to 3 multiplied by 2? What was the first question? What is the answer to 3 multiplied by 2? If I'm going to continue this one all the time, those 10 questions and those 20 numbers are going to be the same. And the reason is that because I fixed this seed number. So it is fixed and it's equal to 4. It doesn't matter what the number it is, but it is fixed. So it's 3 multiplied by 2, so the answer is 6. And the next one is 4 multiplied by 2. What is the second one? 4 multiplied by 2. So all of them are going to be the same. Okay, so if I'm going to yeah, I don't know. So this is the end, and I don't care. So let me show you something else. Okay, I'm going to make this one 3, and I'm going to run it again. So now the seed is 3, and the first one is 3 multiplied by 6, which is different from this one. Why? Because we have another seed here. So yeah, I just wanted to show you this one, and this is the end of this problem. Yep.